All right, it's setting up.
I might stay for a little bit. I'm babysitting, so it's crazy on my end, but I'll be jumping in while I can.
Okay, wonderful. So welcome, viewers. This is Dr. Sherry Mamjara Tomlinson-Tell here on the African Healing Podcast. And today I have a special guest by the name of Mr. Stephen Banda from Zambia. And Mr. Banda happens to be the most interesting man in the world that very few people know about. So I'd like to introduce our special guest today. And he did me a huge favor by arranging a panel of other Zambians to join us. And I can't be more thrilled to meet everyone. And, you know, we're going to just like jumpstart our efforts to have more trade, have more information, have more people involved with our community in the diaspora, the African diaspora, and back on the continent. So this is a wonderful moment that you're watching right now, because we're coming your way so that you can have the right information, the right opportunities, and meet the right people to be successful in this new modern times that we are finding ourselves in. Welcome, Godfrey. Are you also in the Zambia?
No, I'm in Dallas, Texas.
Dallas, Texas. Okay, you're
Texas is hot today.
Yes, it is. Well, it is July. Yeah, it's going to be hot till the end of August, but welcome to the African Healing Podcast. We're so happy you're able to join us, and we'll begin with having Mr. Stephen Banda, the president of the Zambia Association in Dallas, Texas. Is it the whole Texas or just the Dallas, Texas area?
Yep, DFW.
The DFW.
It's actually called the Pamozi Zambian Association.
Okay, so as president of the Zambia Association, and also not just a leader in that association, but also in the entire community, you're just doing a lot of things, helping out everyone and doing it without any pat on the back. You're doing it without any, you know, just like a quiet servant leader. And we don't get to meet a lot of true servant leaders, because at the end of the day, everyone wants to be recognized for their efforts and compensated. And that's not at the very top of your agenda. And this is why I appreciate, you know, you taking me up on the invitation and joining us today. So please go ahead, Stephen Banda, tell us more about the work you've been doing here and in Zambia.
Well, it's very hard for me to talk about myself, because that's one thing I am not good at. I am good at talking about other people, you know, because I see a lot of potential in people. I admire Mr. Godfrey, who just logged in. He's actually a Scrum Master expert. And he's been teaching me a lot and telling me a lot of what's going on in the project management field. And I've been learning quite a lot from him. So I find it very, very easy to talk more of people. But in a nutshell, the association work is a servitude based. You have to be a servant in order to be a leader. And over the years that I have been involved as a community leader, I have learned one empirical thing in life. I learned this after a man from Cameroon called me. He lives in the US, but he called me to solicit for help on a certain issue. And I wondered, how can I possibly know how to help you? I did not ask him that, but I was just thinking it in my head. But at the end of the day, I was able to execute and help him effectively with what he wanted. And then he came back to me, and what he told me touched me broadly. He He said, actually, at the time we were driving to meet a lady who was running for Senate. So they were charging like $1,000 to meet her on the door, and he paid for me. He said, "Look, I'll pay for you. I want you to go meet this lady because it's very, very important to meet this congresswoman because your journey might end up there. So let's go." So we picked him up in his Bentley, and we went to that meeting. And on the way, he told me, I asked him, "How did you know I could help you with the question you asked?" He said, "Stephen, you need to learn one thing. When you are a leader, the kind of leader you are as a servant, you actually, by helping people, you actually are helping yourself." That touched me. And I realized after serving the community for 10 years in through turmoil, through being condemned, through accusations, I have learned that actually I have become an expert attorney without having a law degree. I have become an expert probate attorney without learning a law degree. I actually saved a life. The police a year ago wanted to kill one of the Zambian residents here in Dallas because he was barricaded in the house with his own guns and ready to shoot, and was like, "We are going to kill each other today." The police asked him, "Look, one more time before we can do this, can you tell us one person you respect so we can call them?" So 2 a.m, he tells them, "Mr. Stephen Banda, 2 a.m, I received a call. I didn't know the phone, but I picked it up. And then here is the SWAT negotiating team negotiating with me to tell me what's about to happen." And I was able to negotiate with my resident and was able to bring the situation to calm and gave him protocols of how to surrender. And he surrendered, they arrested him, and the next morning, 8 o'clock in the morning, I bailed him out of jail. And now he's a free citizen, working and everything. But I realized I could not have those skills to negotiate effectively in that manner if I was not involved in the community. I have learned that as a community leader, I've become an expert, probate expert. I understand probate and can explain and help a lot of people in that. So by being a servant leader, you are actually helping yourself.
Yeah.
That is why I think leadership is important. It comes at a price because not everybody appreciates. You will have attacks, you will have accusations, you will have this. But if you are doing it unto God, because I realize one thing, that Jesus healed the lepers, he actually gave sight to the blind, he raised the dead, but at the end of it all, they still crucified him. No matter what you do to humanity, they will crucify you.
So they did this to Christ, right?
Yeah, so who am I?
And who are you? But you are someone that has a gift. That's who you are. And I've told you this before, and I didn't realize this is a gift that I have as well, not to the extent where you've used it, but I'm on my way, I'm sure. But internationally, yeah. That's why the panelists are going to help me get there. But yeah, you have a special gift. Not everyone has that gift. And I didn't realize it till my cousin got sick with cancer, and he called and told me, "Could you please come to my place and take care of me? I've given my money to this church for the past 7, 8 years. No one, not even the pastor, came to see me to bring me food, nothing. My cousin had to call me to come take care of her." So, and I've taken care of everyone, that needs help. And other people won't do the things that we do. So I've narrowed it down to the fact that it's a God-given gift. And when you come together with other people with that gift, which is what's starting to happen, we're going to turn things around, for a lot of people who are suffering, a lot of people who are waiting, okay, because God is using us at such a time as this. So, Mr. Stephen Banda, before I continue with our other guest that's on our panel today, thanks for your patience, everyone. Welcome, Ms. Bridget. We'll be right with you. But I wanted to ask you the same thing I asked Dr. Rick Wallace last week. Remember he told us he was from a teen mom, a background where his mom was a teenager, left him with his grandfather. And the good thing about the grandfather was he emphasized education. And, that's what was intriguing the most to Dr. Wallace. So tell us, what was your younger years like, and how did you find yourself in the position where you are today, where you're you own a car dealership, you're into fiduciary banking, you're into exporting and importing. How have you become such a, how would you say, overachiever? While do you have ADHD, or is this your passion? Tell us.
That question brings tears to my eyes, because it's a very difficult question, and I'm happy that my sister is here. I'm sorry.
Okay, I should have told you to make an appointment. Yeah. We'll sit on the couch and I'll charge you.
Yes. I'm also happy that
two sentences.
that John Zulu is here, because when I think of him, I have tears in my eyes, because John and my sister, they were very formidable in my younger years. That John Zulu you've seen there, Dr. Tor, that man fed me. When I was he was just in the 7th grade, just like fed me. He was just in the 7th grade, just as I was, but he sneaked me into his parents' house to feed me.
Wow.
Yeah, his father was one of the most prolific figures in Zambia. He one of the wealthiest people we had, but John sank so low to come to our compounds and become a friend of mine. And he sneaked me into his parents' home to feed me, to hold me when everything was breaking apart. Because at the time I had remained alone. My father had grown old, so he went to the village because he was preparing to die and he wanted to die there. So I remained alone in this council house. And so John became that person that picked me and gave me food and helped me with uniforms, and his mother helped me with school fees and making sure. And that's how I developed ulcers, because I was hungry most of the time.
Right.
But when I became served, that's how I met John Zulu. I became served. The Lord takes the sting of poverty from you because he gives you good people. And that woman you are seeing there, Bridget, her arms of love shaped my life. So Bridget grew up elsewhere because when mom died, when we were very young, all of us, we were disintegrated. Bridget lived in the Copper Belt. I lived in Livingston with my young sister. My brother lived this side and all. And one brother, I think, got lost. We've never seen him. We don't even know where he is. And my sister got lost in the village. And when I was in the 10th grade, I went and fetched her. I found her. Then my sister, when she settled down, she went and picked her up and got her a farm. And now she's established the family. But my sister, each holiday she visited, her arms of love, she would just embrace me and hold me and encourage me to keep going to school, to keep getting educated and get there. Now, my mother I remember her as a sickly lady. So when I was before even I was in the 1st grade, my mother would send me to daily produce board early in the morning at 6 in the morning to buy fresh milk. When I buy that milk, I would put it in an aluminum pail behind the house. And at 10 a.m., I would get it. It has become sour. And then I would sell it within the compounds on Livingston. When it's done, I go into town, downtown. I buy a pack of cigarettes, Peter Stuyvesant. Then I come home and in the evening, I sell those cigarettes to passerbys to make money for us to eat. And I remember I started selling them when they were 3 ingwe and 7 ingwe. So that's how I know the maths of 3 and 7. Then during the mango season, my mom would send Bridget, myself, my older brother Martin to go in the compounds and buy mango to go sell. So I think what mom instilled then in me became what I am now, an entrepreneur. But it did not, it came at a very heavy price because my childhood, Bridget's childhood, was very, very hard. My sister now is in Canada, well married and doing well. She's a registered nurse. But we did not just walk up and we are here. It came with a lot of pain. And that's when you asked me a question, I teared up because when I saw John, it was an honor, and I remember a lot of things. It's something that you can't let go away. As a Black community, we have gone through so much.
Yeah.
But I think our time has come to be the leaders of this world. It's our time.
Yes, it is indeed.
Yes.
Yes. So, Bridget, we are going to have Godfrey yield to you. Welcome to the African podcast. Godfrey, I hope you don't mind. They say ladies first. So anyway, go ahead, Bridget. Please introduce yourself to our viewers.
Well, Bridget, as you have heard, or Mrs. Ingram, or Mama B, people call me here in Canada because I'm the mother to all the international students. I just embrace them because I know how it was coming here from home. So all the international students, I'm like, Mama is here, don't be lost. And I'm the second born in our family. Stephen is the fifth born. I'm a proud big sister here. Our firstborn, unfortunately, passed away.
Okay.
So I live in Canada. I'm a nurse. I'm a mom. I don't count my children because I don't want to leave I don't want to leave anybody out without counting them. So I just say I don't count my children. I'm a mom.
Okay, so you're here to give your brother support and tell us what is it like in Canada as far as the Zambia community there?
Sorry. As you know, I think someone else is talking.
Okay, Godfrey, we can hear your background voice there.
Yeah, I'm just getting upstairs. Can you hear me?
Okay, yeah. Could you mute yourself? Bridget's almost done. We'll be right back with you.
Yes. So how it is like living in Canada, it is up and down, actually. Oh my goodness. There is racism. Racism is there for sure. It is just subtle. Sometimes you can't see it, but just the things they say, or they'll just treat you different at work. It's like you really have to prove yourself.
Okay.
You really have to prove yourself.
But how easy is it for you to get products from Africa in Canada right now?
It is not very easy, depending on where you live.
Mm-hmm.
Depending on where you live, like here where I live in Kelowna, British Columbia, It is actually very difficult. That's why I'm actually thinking of starting an African store. But if you live in Toronto, I actually even registered.
We're going to help you, Bridget.
You're going to help me?
Yes, we're going to help you.
Amen.
Yes.
Honestly, amen. That's I want to start that. I've been singing about it for a long time, but now even my children are like, Mom, just do it, because I miss all these things. It's very difficult here, and I've done the demographic. So if I open a store here, an African store in Kelowna, I will have people from Vernon, which is an hour away. I'll have people from Kamloops, which is 2 hours away, and people from Penticton, which is an hour away, coming here.
Let's do it. You have an investor right here. I'm ready. Hey, sweetheart, come on.
I'm so excited about that, for sure.
This is my beautiful daughter. Do you see my daughter? She's so beautiful.
Oh, wow. How beautiful.
My camera.
She looks like you. My goodness.
We're practically two. Best neighbor. I know she's going to come and join us for the mental health bit next week, right?
Yeah.
All right.
Yes.
Oh, look at wifey in the background. Oh, beautiful lady, come back here. I had to borrow your daughter for a minute, but you can have her back now just for another week, and then Yes. Thanks for joining us. All right. So, Bridget,
it's
you-
my
let me tell you what's going on here in Dallas. They have African stores, and the products are not from Africa. They're from Lebanon. They're from, China. They're from everywhere except grown or, produced by Africans. So I think
Yes.
that's a problem. So we have to work on having your African store be really, really completely African. Now, Stevens, your brother's wife told me, I'm going to tell on you, Mrs.
Hi,
Banda,
darling.
but she told me she loves hibiscus tea. And I was just telling the Honorable Justina, her complexion is so beautiful. And it's because, the Zambian women are probably drinking a lot of hibiscus tea, which is a detox. It's a antioxidant. Okay. So this is going to leave your body, more healthy, more beautiful. So Mr. Banda's wife told me she buys the hibiscus tea from the Lebanese. So do you see where our problem?
That's our problem, yes.
Yeah. So Mrs. Banda, tell us more about the hibiscus tea and how can we get the women in Zambia to start growing it, shipping it, because of course Bridget's going to need it for her shop. She's going to, Stephen, how do you call it when you have more of the same shops all over the place? She's going to have a franchise, right? So how do we get the women of Zambia to start? Oh my goodness, look at this. Yeah. Is it from Zambia?
From Zambia, I got it from Zambia.
Oh, wow.
Got it from Zambia.
What are we doing?
Yeah.
Stephen, you have to import this for us, okay? But anyway, I'll be back to Mr. and Mrs. Bond in a minute, but Godfrey, could you please introduce yourself to our viewers? Can you hear us? Godfrey Way, welcome to the African Healing Podcast. You're on mute. If you are not aware, you're still muted. Okay, we'll wait till he's unmuted, and then Mrs. Banda, please introduce yourself to our viewers.
Hi, everyone. My name is Elizabeth Banda, married to Stephen. Thank you for having me on this
Yes.
podcast. Yes, it's really an honor to be here and to be besides this man. He's a friend, he's a husband, he's a daddy, he's a brother.
Right. They always say you can tell the character of a man by the countenance of his wife. So yes, you're a peaceful, loving woman. So guess what? Your husband probably treats you very well.
No, he does. He does.
Yes.
Yeah, we were talking about it with my son, like, oh my goodness, Daddy really loves us. Like, he'll do anything and puts us first in his life. He'll sacrifice a lot of stuff just for us. And that means a lot for us. We really feel blessed and honored.
And that's how it should be. So who do you put first in your life, Stephen?
Who do I put first in my life? Other than God, my wife.
Yeah, God first. If you have God first, guess what? Everything will align. Yeah.
Absolutely. Because I always tell my children, you'll be grown and gone and run away, and you'll be in California, New Zealand, Switzerland, where? But my wife, she's stuck on me like white on rice. She ain't going anywhere.
Right. Stick together like crazy glue.
Yes, we'll be together forever,
Yes.
So she has to come first, and I have to definitely treat her well. So that, if I die, I will never regret that I didn't treat my wife well. I don't want to die with regrets. I want to die happy.
Right. So you have the great idea. And now we're moving on from introducing the family and your background. We're going to move on to talk more about your businesses. You haven't told us much. And, we're getting people together like Bayo and supply chain and all that, so we can have products across Africa to America, the Caribbean, all over the world. Hopefully he'll agree to join us in another week or two. I'll invite him, but we'll talk about supply chain at another time. But tell us about the business that you're currently involved in.
Yes, so we have Stephen Banda Holdings LLC, which is a mother company, and under it we have DBAs, DBA meaning doing business hours. So we have Stephen Banda Fiduciary Management Consortium firm. So what we do with that is there's a lot of times that people in Africa do not have anyone they trust here to do something for them. I'll give you an example. I know a lady called Dr. Osokoro Ogaji.
Okay.
I don't know her, but I know her. She lives in Nigeria, in Abuja.
Wow.
Dr. Osokoro Ogaji sends me money to buy her stuff here. She doesn't know me from Adam. And then I buy the stuff and I ship for her. And as a fiduciary manager, I have to be precise in what I do. I know a man called Mr. Mulomba, Paul Mulomba. I don't know him, never met him before, but he owns a very big shop in Zambia. It's called Velocity Digital Home. That man will send me 80, 100,000 US dollars to buy stuff for him here in the US, buy original MAC powders for him, not fake ones. So he likes original stuff, puts them in his shop at Velocity Digital Home and sells. And this man, him and I have never met. But that's what I do as a fiduciary manager. I have to be trustworthy and be a good manager with people's products. And we do that hand in hand with my wife, because whatever I do, I have to let my wife know. Because I've realized over the years that a lot of times when an African man dies, so does the family. The reason being, we spend a lot of years building wealth for the family, but never take time to build a family for the wealth. So when we die, they don't know what to do. If I die today, my wife knows everything.
So you've just welcome Mwansa. Can you hear us? Okay, we'll come back to Mwansa in a minute. Yeah, so you just spoke about something I wanted to bring up on the podcast today, and that is, go ahead, Mwansa, let me let you, can you hear us now? Okay, he's still trying to connect with his audio. I think we can hear you now. Hi, can you introduce yourself, gentlemen? I'll come back to that. Can you hear us? Welcome.
Okay, welcome. This is Godfrey again. I think I lost my connection.
Before we lose you again,
I came to visit.
Please introduce yourself to our viewers before we lose you again. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, it's a connectivity where I am. So when he sent me a link, I was on my way to visit my friend here.
Right.
So we kind of now using his phone. Mine is not even connecting. So, my name is Godfrey Wire, and nice meet you all here.
Right. So tell us what your background is.
I live in Dallas, Texas. So I'm a professional Scrum Master, and at the same time, I'm a software developer. I've been working for ClearSpan LLC for now 4 months. We do software development and quality assurance. So, but I've been doing this for the past 3 years. I worked for some previous companies, and then I live in Dallas, and Mr. Banda is my mentor. He's a good man. And then, where are you from, Doctor? Are you calling us from the United States?
Right. I'm right now in Dallas, getting ready to leave for New York in another hour or so, but that's okay. I have time to finish our podcast today with you. And now that you've told us, what your background is, please share with us any information you have about AI.
AI. AI is just a mixed information about it. I have, like in my field, it has some advantages and some disadvantages. So they're talking about it's going to take over our jobs. I don't know how, but eventually it's going to take over our jobs. And then was it yesterday? I was reading something about it.
Right.
So they made some AI robots. So they were discussing. So they were talking about can run the world better than humans. You see, so I don't know where that's taking us. Again, I heard some, these businessmen talking about. I think this is dangerous for humanity, because some people, some bad characters, they're using it for bad things, like making them bombs and stuff. They go there just getting knowledge about making those things. But like in my field, we use it for for just generating value for complex problems. So it's just everything out there about the AI. So
Yeah. They
it
said
depends
by,
how we use it.
they,
We
said
got
by, they said by the end of next year, the way the world is going now, it's going to be completely different with AI taking over a lot of things. So yeah, we need to hurry up and be, ahead of the curve, right? So
yeah.
what do you suggest at this point?
At this point, I mean, for my field, it's really helping. And then we use it for my job. We use it and everything, but at the same time, on the other end, you never know these bad characters, what they do using it for. So you just never know, But so far, it works for me.
Okay, so Stephen Banda is in cybersecurity, and we went to a webinar last week, right? And said this thing could be used to hack, and that's what Dr. Rick Wallace was telling us. What system securities would it enhance or complicate that you are aware of?
Sorry.
We'll come right to you.
Let me tell you this before to answer that. When the washing machine was first invented, it had the highest number of failure in Japan. Highest rate of failure was in Japan. And the Americans were replacing a huge number, through warranty in Japan, and they did not understand what was going on, only in Japan and in a certain area. So after 8 months, they were fed up. So they sent a team to go there and find out what the problem is. So the team went there, they were there for a month, did their research, and they came up and found out what the problem was. They realized that actually the washing machines were failing at that rate in Japan because the Japanese farmers were using it to wash potatoes. Once they harvest potatoes, they'll throw them in a washing machine, and the washing machine will wash them quick, and then they go sell them. So now when they found that out, they went back and sat and developed a think tank. How can we solve this problem? So they came up with a solution. So when the Japanese complained about the machines failing, they waited until at least 1,000 of them had failed. Then they went and collected them and replaced the machines. So as usual, the Japanese got those potatoes after they harvested them, put them in a washing machine, switched them on, and went there to drink their sake. They came back 30 minutes later, those potatoes were mashed like they were cooked, broken in pieces. What did the think tank do? They went back to the drawing board and using economics, engineering, system thinking, redesigned the washing machine so that now when the Japanese try to wash potatoes, they'll break them in pieces. What had happened? That was the last call the Japanese ever made about failure. They wanted now their own machine. So when we talk about artificial intelligence, we don't need now to wait for 6 months and send experts to go investigate what's going on with this. It is there. Like Miles Monroe once said, he said the richest place in the world is a grave because people with untapped potential and written books and tapped inventions have died there. Yes, that held true until now. Now the richest place in the world is AI. All the big brains and the inventions and the solutions of this world are in there. What you need to do is tap into it. So you are asking, how can it solve problems? Number one, we have what we call next generation firewalls. Using AI, next generation firewalls are going to use what we call intrusion detecting system to dig deep into the lines, in the ports, to find exactly what is the next hack coming and where is it coming from. Is it coming as a SQL injection? Is it coming as a header injection? Is it coming as a JavaScript injection? Is it coming as a header manipulation, or is it coming as a misconfigured, configurations when it comes to how the software was developed? It will look at that critically and be able to solve the problem before it does. But then in reverse, it's going to create a problem because they will use the same to actually. Some managers are very poor when it comes to CLI, meaning how they take logs and build them and watch what's happening, because sometimes some alerts, intrusion alerts are late. So these hackers are very learned. They are going to find a way to spoof the system by using our voices. By using our thumb, they are going to spoof the system to believe that it is Shelly Tomrin who has come here to say good morning, and the computer opens and bingo, there you are exposed.
But what
is the
about
danger.
using iScan? Now, I think iScan is going to be a big thing. Would that be better than voice recognition, or?
As engineers, we are moving into third and fourth authentication and incorporating hashing. Now things are not going to be saved as numbers anymore. We have to protect them through hashing. So you need a special inscription to find out what that hash is. You need a third, fourth authentication other than just you logging in. There should be 2, 3 more ways that the system should authenticate who you are, because just 1, 2 things alone is no longer enough, because hackers have those.
But again, the Banda data protection, it depends who's protecting that data, because that data again, it might fall into the hands of these bad characters, so they can do anything. Even if you try this authentication, they can still have access to anything.
Yes, it's very true. They can have access to anything. Whatever is built can fail. However, what we are doing as engineers is the cost of what it would take to break the system should be more expensive than what they'll get out of it. So that is going to discourage hackers. And that's why we have next generation firewall intrusion system, because we have to monitor what is going on. And these monitoring systems that are being put in place, they are very intelligent. IoT is growing at a larger scale. And so just as bad guys are growing, which are maybe activists or hackers, so are good people that are being trained. We are there in order to stop the bad guys, and that's why we are in training.
Right. So we want to be able to, allow the consumers to have a personalized experience, have quality service. This is what we learned at the webinar. And by knowing them better, but not by, taking advantage of their private lives.
Absolutely.
AI helps us to know the consumer better. However, they want to know that they're protected. So what are your thoughts about, using AI to be successful, or to be for business?
Yeah, it's coming actually at the best time, especially for us immigrants, us Africans, because it's doing a lot of things. Like Dr. Wallace, to tap into what he said also. Now, Dr. Tomlin, I don't have to market my business as a Black man. I don't. I can use AI depending on who I am. Please mute your phones because they are disturbing.
What is AI? So excuse my ignorance.
Well, Bridget, it's artificial intelligence, and we're going to invite you to a webinar we're having at the end of this month, because a lot of people need to, we don't want you to, go into 2024 and everyone is doing things with AI and you're like, what do you do with this? So, it's funny, Bridget, my little niece in New York, her name is Savannah. She says to me, she looks at this clock radio that her mother has on the dresser. And she looks at me, she goes, what is this? And I'm like, she's like 5 or 6 years old. It's like, they've never seen anything like that, so we don't want you to be left out. Okay. So enjoy it. Yeah, definitely. So before we continue, I just remembered what I was going to ask you, Mr. Stephen Banda, and it was something that Dr. Rick Wallace talked about. And he says, he asked me, she said, you're like pushing the men in, I'm paraphrasing, of course, to be the lead, take the lead. And you told me you liked what he said. And I am promoting, I want our men to be the leaders in our community because, okay, women can be leaders. However, the men, and we can be strong. Women, and Dr. Wallace says he doesn't like the terms the strong woman, right? We can be strong, but we're usually not strong for long. We will poop out, conk out faster than the men. It's a fact. The men have a lot of upper body strength. They can keep going in, as far as, real physical strength, mental strength. Some women can, but I mean, why when we could just let the men do it, right? I remember when I was in the military, I was in, and it's not going to end well. At some point, I need the man to take over because I'll just be exhausted. I got to go look cute, and I don't have time for that. So I was in the military, I was in the Army, and I remember this was the lesson that I learned. We had to go and, do leadership training, and we had to go up Snake Mountain. So when I got halfway up Snake Mountain, I realized my compass was off. And one Black guy, he came up behind me and I was ready to go back down because I was going to give up. He says, I'll carry your, we have gear, and we put it in this backpack. They call it a rucksack. So he carried it up there and I made it, and I was coming down, and then I got lost. And I was out there for like 24 hours. Then a white guy came over and he was like, come on, let me get you back. And that's the only way I made it through leadership training. Okay. 2 men, kind of helped me out. Right. So women, we act all, but we need our men. Trust me. We just need our men. A lot of times we get into the situation where we don't like how society treats us as women or men treats us. There's some women out there, they're going through female mutilation. They have to be sister wives. They have to do all these things that they don't want to do. And I'm, maybe they'll call me independent women, but there's just certain things I don't want to do that as a woman. I just want a normal life. And this is normal to me. I have my husband and family, like your television family, Mr. Stephen. Television is perfect. That's all most women want, So anyway, that's what I was trying to remember when I want. So you were telling me, before we continue, tell me about what your thoughts are about what Dr. Rick said about, men being in leadership and women being strong women. And
yes, there is a reason. First and foremost, why God created a family of a man and a woman. We each have different but important, very, very important roles to play.
Sure.
There are things. Let me give an example of me, because you can't teach what you read. You can only teach your life. Let me give an example of me. I grew up in a home where my father was not married. And of course, my uncle was married. So I lived most of life just with my father. My wife, on the other end, she grew up, her parents are still alive, so she grew up with her mother and father. I see the empirical difference in how she handles even our children, different from me. Me, I'm military. My wife is advisory because she was brought up and molded in love. She takes that and translates it and uses it to shape the children. When I come in, most of the times I realize that, before I use what was used on me, because it was not from a model home, let me ask my wife, how is this done from your loving home? We each have a role to play. And I think the role of a man in the home is to guide a home, provide for the home, and lead people into places of leadership and finding their place in life. The woman's voice in our life is that to sustain and hold us.
Yeah.
The advice to help us know what is wrong when we're out there, what it means to be disciplined and come back to the drawing board. But a man shapes and navigates you into the rough world, and so that you can make it when you're out there. So these roles are not compatible, and yet they play a role of propinquity and an empirical platform that helps guide how a family should run. And this is what, as Black people, should do. We should maintain our homes. In order to be great, in order not to be defeated, we have to be strong first in our own homes.
Right. So they need support for that. This is what I've learned in all of my years of professional training. Okay. Our people do not have the support that they need. And we need to have more resources, have more meetings like this, and have people be able to express themselves and let us know what they need. Okay. If you tell me what you need, I can help you. Right. But if we don't know, and if you don't know where to go, where to turn, okay, this is where we are right now. We just don't have that layout, okay, so people can follow easily. We have to go to people that don't understand where we're coming from or what we've experienced. So that's an issue, but I'll do some, follow up about that in the weeks to come. But Bridget, we're almost out of time. Could you please give us your final words, and then we'll go to Godfrey. Thanks for your patience. Okay. Okay.
I just want to, first of all, also say thank you to my brother. Stephen is the one who gave me the link to come on here. I'm very, very proud of him. And, even these are my final thoughts, because I have a lot to say. We speak a lot in our family, as you can tell. But I just want to talk about my brother today, because even hearing him speak, even as he say, we grew up in different homes, the one thing that we always had was love for one another. And as he was speaking, I remembered I grew up with my mom's sister, who I call mom, and she was not married. So I grew up with a mother, but not a father. And the fatherly love that I had was from, I don't know if you know Reverend Lubuton, so he became my spiritual dad, and up to now he's my dad. But the voice of men that I knew was that of my brothers, my young brother and my elder brother. So I just knew the love, that love, So when you know that, and then you get married, then you hear the voice of a man, it's also different, because you are not used to that. You didn't grow up with your dad, you just grew up with your mom, and then you have only your brothers who spoiled you by praising you all the time. Oh, you look nice. Oh, every time, I always used to say that my brothers, oh my goodness, they praise you all the time up to today. Aww. Even would tell you like how beautiful you look, how such that you always feel confident. I grew up confident because my brothers always did that to me, And my mom loved Stephen. Stephen for sure was mom's favorite child. And we even used to ask mom, my brother and I, like, why do you love Stephen so much? And mom would say, oh, because he's the youngest of the boys. But we're like, that was the reason she gave. But I was always proud of Stephen, and I was always proud of him, such that sometimes when I would meet people, because I was older, way older, I would meet people, I wanted him to introduce himself. When he was young, he didn't understand it. He would just think, oh, since he didn't introduce me, until he was older, I'm like, no, because I was so proud of you, such that I wanted them to hear how eloquently you're going to speak when you open your mouth and talk, and how intelligent and how just confident you are. Because I always believed in him, and to see him where he is now, I just want to thank God from the bottom of my heart, and I'm just proud. So
yes, so you've touched on something that's lacking in a lot of households, and that's love. A lot of people actually get married and it's transactional. From back in the day, they've done these practices where people don't really know what love is because no one showed them when they were younger. So to have a family that actually had that, this is like very, you know, very not, it doesn't happen for a lot of people. It's, I wouldn't say rare, but it's not today in these times. It's not, you know, our parents are pretty much narcissists. They're working all the time. They don't have, we raise ourselves, you know, love, what's that? You get a plate of food, a hot plate of food, that's love. Yeah. So to see you have good memories and can share this story, this is going to be a blessing to other people. And it's also been a blessing to me as well to know that this does exist, because I was doubting myself. I'm like, does this even exist? Because, you know, I have a sister and she says to me, there's no such thing as love. If I tell her I'm in love, she's like, stop it, shut up. There's no such thing. So now I know there really is such a thing.
True.
Thank you for joining us. And I hope you'll be back with us at the end of the month for the webinar, but we'll send you more information about that. And we'll move on to Godfrey real quick. Please, Godfrey, tell us, share with us your final words.
So my final words, I remember some, like a month ago, I was wishing everybody, even the, I wish my mom happy Father's Day. So they were thinking that I'm crazy. So when she was like, I'm not a man, I'm a woman. I said, I know, but you know what? You play the role of a father raising us, because I was raised by a single parent. I was raised by my mom, and it's 4 of us in our family. I'm firstborn, and I got 3 sisters. So I was telling her, I said, hey, you did everything for us, even for we could be where we are right now. So because of you, and my dad wasn't there, so you did it all by yourself. So, and if I look back again over here in the United States, most of the people I know, they were raised by their moms or their grandmoms. You know, those are people that's playing that role as a father. They've always been there, make sure there's a plate on their table, make sure they go to school and everything, you know. So women, they play most important role in this world.
So I want to ask you, it might be a little personal, Godfrey, but are you married? Do you have children?
Yes, I'm married. I got children. I got 3 children, but not with my current wife, with my ex. So
Okay.
I got 2 girls. One of them was born in Connecticut, and the other one was born in California. And then my son was born in Connecticut, and he coming on Wednesday, gonna be with me over here.
So you're involved in their lives and you're, you know, in touch with your mom, and okay, so you're trying to keep your family tight.
Together.
Yeah.
So, when my son comes, in fact, when he comes after like 2 weeks, he's gonna be jumping on the plane going to Victorville, California.
Oh,
You
how
know,
old is he?
fun everybody. Yes.
How old is he?
Oh, my son, they're grown. All of them is grown. My son 21. My daughter just turned 22. The other one, she's 20.
Okay, they're
So,
already 20.
Yes. Well, thank you.
The 20 years old, she does medicine. She's gonna be a MD. She's gonna be she's gonna be a doctor. Then other one, she's a nurse. And then my son is he does computer science. Trying to like that.
Yeah, so I hope you'll invite some folks back with us for the webinar at the end of the month. We'll send you some information because we want to get everyone prepared for AI and show people how to, you know, have cash flow, be successful, and not be afraid of this new technology. Okay.
Yeah, but don't you think AI just makes us being lazy?
Lazy? Oh, it depends on how your brain works. So we'll have to do an assessment on everyone. And yeah, see, I have ADHD. I think Stephen has ADHD.
No, yeah. It's going to help us get ahead. It will help us get ahead.
Now, these little kids, they just use AI, and they, you know how it is right now in the internet age. So everybody's on it, even the homework, the teachers, they'll be like, oh, you guys are doing good, how come? But in the background, these kids, they're just using AI to their homework.
It's shortening the learning curve. The learning curve is getting shorter. You know, the code, I don't have to really be good at Java. I can just put it in AI and it will break the code for me and tell me exactly where the syntax is broken. So AI is doing a lot more. But I think it will help us a lot in that when you open a company, say you want to go into tech Godfrey, what AI will do for you, it will help you build the best website, the best marketing tools, and where exactly to concentrate and to look at. It will bring in the keywords that may be needed. If someone punches them in Google, they will have 5,000, 10 million searches just like that. So the curve is going to get better. We just have to know where to tap into it and how.
It's got the bad side and the good side at the same time. I'm not saying it's bad.
Everything does. A car is good, but it can kill you in a wreck. But it doesn't mean you're not going to drive. Everything has a bad side and a good side. We just have to, like Dr. Tao said, we have to look into the good side of everything. You know, and don't look at the bad. Because,
how about the bad side? We gotta look at the bad side. What's going on?
Yes, we have to look at all of them. The bad side, like we say, it's going to be used as, but just like cryptography, cryptocurrency is very good. Bitcoin, we invest, you grow. But at the end of the day, people are using it to pay for in the dark world.
Okay, let me tell you, crypto is no gold. It's just a bad idea. That's what I was saying.
So you say, but it's good.
Maybe next year it will be. But anyway, we could talk another hour. We've come to the end of our African Healing podcast. Thank you all for joining us. I hope you'll be back again and share more of your knowledge, experiences, and of course, your love. This was a lot of love coming at you today, viewers. So, just embrace it and expect more from our guest here on African Healing. So join us next week as we talk more about mental health, and we'll have some special guests for that. So tune in for that. And don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to this channel. Please comment. That helps more, people to find us. And so you could always email us if you need a car. Mr. Banda, do you want to share your email? If someone needs a vehicle, if they're in Dallas.
Yes, I'll put it in the comment, but it's sales@stephenbandaautomall.com.
Okay. And we have to, help Bridget with her African store. And
Canada, yes.
Right. And you could always email me at Dr. Sherry. Let's go with Dr. Mamjaratal@gmail.com if you have questions. Thank you for joining us. See you again next week.
Have a pleasant flight to New York.
Thank you, Mr. Godfrey. Talk to you again soon. Hope you'll join us for that webinar at the end of the month, the AI webinar.